Hi, I'm Cheryl Fox. Welcome to On the Red Dot. In the final installment of our series, It Takes a Village, we turn our attention to schizophrenia. The facts of this brain disease are not well known, and as a result, many are fearful of people with schizophrenia. Julius Chan has had to bear the brunt of that fear. This is his story. Hallucinations, paranoia, phantom voices, fantasy and reality, indistinguishable.
I thought I was hearing voices, and I was a bit confused between good and evil. When I sleep, I start to have very short sleep, not properly rested, and when I wake up, it seems to be a reality. My dream became a reality. Then I asked myself, did I really sleep? Or am I in another dimension kind of thing, you know? In the end, fear set in. Fear set in because I had no control over myself and I didn't know who to turn to.
Julius seemed well adjusted for the most part of his youth. He enjoyed simple activities like acting in his church's drama club. But there were signs that not everything was right.
I always think that he's just a normal child, you know. Until one day after school, he swallowed some pills and then he was warded.
Julius started to find it difficult in his teenage years to cope with his studies, changing schools 3 times. Then at the age of 19, Julius's father, Roland, witnessed his son's first mental meltdown.
His peers were telling me that he's not himself, you know, scolding people, using all kinds of bad language. So I was very, very shocked. I was very, very shocked. And then I went to look after him, bring him home.
But Julius didn't want to go home. He thought he was possessed and sought spiritual guidance.
He wanted to go to the priest's house, so I drove him, and halfway he was swearing and kicking. I remember he broke the screen of the car. That was the first bad experience.
Julius reached the home of the priest, highly agitated, and had to be calmed down.
They told me that I will follow the ambulance to the hospital, and they brought me to SGH to get my wound stitched up. And after that, they told me I'll go to a place for retreat, for rest. Yeah, and I asked them, you know, I asked my father, is it IMH, you know, is it Woodbridge Hospital?
That night, Julius was diagnosed with chronic schizophrenia. Julius's future and life for everyone around him were plunged into uncertainty.
I was very, very scared. I was very, very worried because I was just hoping that he will be normal as soon as possible, you know, after the doctor's treatment.
A large part of the fear and anxiety stemmed from a lack of understanding of schizophrenia. I dropped in on Julius's doctor, Dr. Joseph Leong Jin-Yi from the Institute of Mental Health, to learn more. What is schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia is actually a brain disorder. It's a disturbance in the brain in terms of the thinking and also the perception. They may become very withdrawn into their own world, talking to themselves because they're hearing voices disturbing them. They may be very fearful, not joining the family for meals because they're afraid that maybe the family is trying to poison them or to actually hurt them in some way. The person may feel very down, feel very hopeless, feel very helpless, and may actually choose to end their life.
What actually causes schizophrenia?
We believe there is a chemical imbalance in the brain. The actual cause itself, it could be genetic, that means it runs in the family. Other causes could be environmental, because of severe stress, prolonged stress, multiple stress.
Schizophrenia is not a multiple personality disorder, a common misconception amongst many others.
The biggest misconception about schizophrenia is actually the fear and the discrimination. Because a lot of people are not aware that schizophrenia can be treated and treated successfully.
For Julius, the trigger emerged just before he was called up for national service. At that time, he found fulfillment in his community work with juvenile delinquents and was reluctant to let go of his work.
I really love community service so much that I had lack of sleep and all this, and I was in the streets, and I became very confused. And I thought that I was near to be possessed, you know, to be possessed, that something took over my being kind of thing.
Julius isn't alone. The Institute of Mental Health sees over 10,000 outpatients with schizophrenia each year. The disease is treatable. But as Julius found out, the road to recovery can be a living nightmare. Since his first major breakdown in 1993, Julius has suffered 2 more relapses in 1996 and 1999.
I was very delusional, kind of thing, and I felt that the television was talking to me, kind of, you know, and I was communicating with a new age kind of communication. I became very conscious. Why are people looking at me? I felt very conscious that they could be saying something bad about me. So I didn't know who I can entrust myself to.
Stability returned when Julius met Martin. At that time, Julius was pursuing his passion for community service in a voluntary welfare organization. Martin was his manager, and they became friends.
I was very impressed with his passion, the way he carried out his work, you know, as a social service staff. Yeah, you know, and yeah, you know, we were colleagues, and yeah, we had fun together and things like that. And I learned a lot of things from him as well.
He actually gelled all of us together as a center with 20 over, 30 over staff, and together with all the clients, everyone just loved him because he just continued to do small things with great love, and he inspired everyone with visions and all this. So if I were to describe him, I think he's a big man, a very big heart kind of thing. Yeah. So when he actually moved on, all of us got lost. Yeah.
As his circle of friends at the workplace began leaving, Julius became increasingly isolated. His father began to notice a change.
He was praying a lot, you know. He was trying to be a priest. At one stage, he was so close to persevering a priesthood. He sometimes, I believe, he skipped the medicine because he felt he was better or he's well.
It wasn't long before Julius had his most traumatic full-blown relapse. In 2009, Julius's world fell apart again when he stopped taking his medication. He was headed for another major breakdown, his 4th in 16 years.
I thought I died. I thought that my soul left me or something like that. I was very confused. I cursed a lot. I started quoting scriptures and I cursed many unpleasant stuff.
It was just not himself, you know. He was just swearing and all kinds of languages. I was also scared that he would hurt me, you know, because he was not himself, you know.
Roland convinced his son to seek emergency treatment at the Institute of Mental Health.
And he felt that I was not being rational And it was in the middle of the night that he said he wanted to bring me for treatment.
Julius, you need help.
I said, no, you are the one who is not well. You want medicine, you go and take yourself, not me.
I was very, very scared. I was very, very worried because I was just hoping that he will be normal as soon as possible.
I said, no, I'm not going to IMH for treatment. I'm going to the priest's house because they can verify that I am well.
Hello, police.
Desperate, Roland called the police for help. They arrived at the priest's home and tried to subdue Julius.
I said, no, please leave me alone. And they wanted to bring me for treatment. I started hitting them and it was very scary. And after they pinned me down on the ground.
Julius was arrested and charged in court for assaulting the police. He was spared a prison sentence because of his illness. But he was slapped with a 1-year probation and ordered to attend counseling. It proved to be the turning point in his life. Julius found the counseling sessions to be so useful that he asked to continue even after his probation ended. He was referred to a counselor with the Singapore Association of Mental Health.
Julius actually shared with me, the counselor actually provided a very supportive environment for him to share some of his deepest thoughts and deepest feelings. Sometimes feelings of despair, the loss of hope, and then through that process actually help him, to actually rise up again from the ashes, and to become a new person, to find strength again in himself and also in his family and the community.
One source of strength came from an old friend. She too suffers from mental illness. Over the years, their tight bond has blossomed into romance. Together, they've been helping each other cope with a common struggle over the last 4 years. But Julius's girlfriend still fears the stigma attached to mental illness and prefers to remain anonymous.
I don't tell people that I have mental illness. Otherwise, the stigma, and some are so frightened by it, they don't want to offer their friendship to me. Or either they will just single you out.
To escape relentless judgment, Julius and Angeline began taking long bus journeys across Singapore as a pastime. These bus cruises turned out to be therapeutic.
The bus cruises help me to feel very peaceful and tranquil. And there's a lot of things to see, like buildings and nature when the bus passes. Yeah, we love long journeys. We are always together there, and we just enjoy each other's company.
Slowly but surely, Julius, who's turning 40 this year, was heading for recovery. He found exercise to be an effective means to keep his mind and his body strong. Clinton, his friend of over 4 years, joins him for jogs and gym sessions at least twice a week.
A couple of years ago, I was like, hey, Julius, let's just go jogging. Let's just go to the gym. I actually never thought that I would be doing this 2 or 3 times a week. I just thought maybe it's just a one-time thing, just see how it goes.
Then I realized, wow, exercise is the best antidepressant on its own and it's free of charge on its own. So I started reporting back to Clinton and that motivated him. And somehow or other, we start to have an interdependent body system, motivating each other to go for exercise kind of thing.
Besides providing motivation, Clinton offered something that meant so much more to Julius: friendship and an open mind.
He actually told me straight up that he had a mental problem. So he told me he has schizophrenia, to which I Googled it and then I got more information and then I found out, okay, so this is what schizophrenia is all about. I think everyone who has a problem deserves some empathy and understanding. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, we're all still humans, right? I mean, you should give them a chance to know what they're going through first.
At my lowest point after 2009, such friends who were with me, I think these are my true friends because they actually picked me up when I was most down.
Julius was fortunate to receive abundant support and timely care from the village around him. In the latest chapter of Julius's life, it is his time to give back. 20 years has passed since Julius's first encounter with schizophrenia. Today, he's able to say that he has the illness well under control. And he's inspiring others who have suffered just like him to do the same. I'm about to find out how he does it.
Hi, Cheryl. Nice to meet you. Everyone, it's Cheryl. Yes, please, yes. 7 a.m. once the sun
Julius is today a certified peer specialist. He's the first in Singapore. In his talks, he shares about his own experience about overcoming schizophrenia, reassuring that the road to recovery exists for everyone.
Beautiful day, I'm going to conquer the day. Now, recovery is possible, all right? With the help of the village, the mental health system.
The Singapore Anglican Community Service is one of the organizations that engages his services. Besides giving talks, he also works with a group to help those recovering from psychiatric disabilities find work.
Participate fully in the community to be a contributing person in the society, in the community, in a global village.
Yeah. Bye, guys. See you. Make sure you do this. Hi, how are you doing? Hi. Irene Sung is director of the Welfare Group's employment arm. She witnessed his transformation from a client seeking help to a partner helping others. Were you surprised by how well he's recovered?
Yeah, definitely. Julius has been very instrumental. Yeah, he has been very engaging, able to, engage the peers. In fact, Julius comes to our peer support on a monthly basis, and he shares his recovery story to many of them. So many of them have already benefited from his life experiences.
A lot of Julius's achievements can be attributed to Dr. Joseph Leong. It was he who nominated Julius to be part of the pioneer batch of peer specialists in Singapore.
It's really amazing how he really went from his depths of despair and then currently actually climbed out with the help of the family and also with the community. And she's so eager to share.
For Dr. Leong, having peer specialists like Julius in Singapore marks an important step forward in the quality of care for mental health patients.
Nobody can beat a peer. That means somebody who've experienced it. And if you have experienced something and you've gone through it, you may be the best person to actually help a person navigate and recover from that traumatic experience.
Work also helps with the recovery. But Dickie Low knows for mental patients, finding a job isn't easy. He's been working with a job club in the Institute of Mental Health for over 6 years now.
I think the mindset that the public has when employing people with mental illness, I think the first thing will be, are they violent? Yes. So, but we always assure our clients that, we have already assessed the clients, and our psychiatrist has already been assessed to see whether they're suitable before we actually place them out for employment. We have 4 major industries that we concentrate on, namely will be the F&B industries, the retail industries, the housekeeping that includes cleaners and dish collecting, and of course the admin and clerical industries. Yeah.
Julius himself has benefited from the job club. They found Julius 2 jobs before he became a peer specialist. Now Julius is a contributor to the club. At least once a month he comes down to share his employment experiences and more.
We actually help one of our clients in integrating back by supporting him in, I think, finding a job and also offering him some support when it's required.
But Julius alone cannot erase the prejudice that many of his peers face. Every year, the job club places an average of 250 people into jobs. But they still face an uphill challenge of integrating into the workplace.
Because of the stigma itself, yeah, a lot of employers, they are supportive, but they doesn't know how to support and how to actually give the clients a chance. Yeah.
And the chance for gainful employment doesn't just benefit the former patients themselves. It also gives their families a new lease of life. No longer burdened by the schizophrenia attacks that used to plague his son, Roland has found his calling. He's strumming to much sweeter tune at a ukulele club in Potong Pasir.
It helps me to de-stress, you know. It helps me a lot. I want many people to join me, you know, because it makes me very happy. So I want to share. I want to share. I want to teach them to be happy.
If one person is sick, everyone is not well. So if one person is well, everyone will be well. We hope that recovery itself becomes contagious and it will spread. You know, it will go viral, that more people will get healed. Mental illness is real, but recovery is a choice.
It took Julius tremendous will to make that choice to get back on his feet. But schizophrenia cannot be overcome alone. It requires a whole support system, a village of caring individuals, without whom that all-important choice would have been impossible to make.
I chose to be happy. Happiness is yours if you choose it or you choose to be sad.
Julius's incredible story of recovery is an inspiring one, and we wish him all the best in his bid to help others like him. If you'd like to share in this encouraging journey or catch any of our previous episodes, all you need to do is head to these websites and you'll be able to watch it online. Next week, we get started on a whole new series featuring the youth of Singapore and their approach to life. Be sure to head over to our Facebook page to find out more. I'm Cheryl Fox. Till we meet again next week, take care.